Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the TraxionGG podcast, where we talk about racing games, sim racing, and esports across all genres. Now, in the past, you might have heard us wax lyrical about Hot Wheels Unleashed. We gave the game a very good review as part of our Game of the Year awards list as well, and it sold over 1 million copies. So to discuss the success of Hot Wheels Unleashed, we are joined today by Federico, the lead game designer at Milestone. How are you today?
Hey, thanks Thomas for having me. I'm good.
It's our pleasure, and I hope our listeners enjoy our conversation. So today it's all about talking about the success of the game, as I've already mentioned. So we want to get some insight of what it was like to develop, see what the community feedback has been for you, and also then the future DLC plans. So first of all, I just want to rewind. Before the game came out in September 2021, did you have any initial targets? What was success going to look like for the game?
Well, obviously, when you create a game with such an important IP, you're looking forward to success. But as a game developer, you always there is a lot of passion behind making games. Like all of us inside Milestone are passionate about games. So before success, we also crave to create an engaging game, to create a funny game, to make people have fun with our games, right? So success is something that goes hand in hand with creating a fun game. And while we were creating it, while we were developing it, as people inside and outside the company were trying the game, and we were receiving good feedback about it, we kind of started having this idea in the back of our head that something was going into the right direction, and that kind of feeling accompanied us for kind of the later part of our journey that actually terminated with the release of the game. So having this kind of just a glimpse of this is sort of like a good feeling of, hey, we're having fun while making this game, which is totally important for a game developer, and people are starting appreciating, not only internally but even externally, the game. Helped us a lot in the last part, which is the harder part of developing a game. The last part, the final push right, is always important and more difficult than the rest of than starting a project, where everything seems fine, but then things get complicated, like in every other job. And having these sort of like glimpse of the fact that the game was being received in a good way, the way that we hoped for, really helped us.
Yeah, so obviously after the big crunch and the big release, it then went on to sell over 1 million copies, and then it has lots of positive feedback as well, lots of good reviews, lots of strong community members. I speak for myself as someone who really enjoys the game, but also I would like to mention Justin and Rich and the Traxion team. They love it. I think it's one of their favorite games in many, many years. First of all, on that then, was selling over the 1 million copy mark ahead of expectations?
Well, let's say something like this. Obviously, aiming towards 1 million copy at the beginning of a project is really ambitious. Obviously,
yeah, of course.
It's like Milestone is obviously has always set high expectation for all the games, but we understand that like racing games are sort of a niche, and obviously these numbers for us are really huge. I'm not saying that like 1 million copy was really ahead of expectation, but obviously it's something that we always hope for, and the fact that we actually managed to do it like really boosted everyone inside the company, like the people, not only from the project but even outside from the project itself. It was really, really, really encouraging for everyone, because what I said before is like we had this idea in the back of our head that we were going in the right direction. Actually reaching 1 million copies was like, okay guys, you've done it right. And we kind of had the confirmation that we've done the correct thing.
Right, so it's just a big morale booster for the whole team of,
absolutely.
Yes, we know the game is fun, but also the consumers, they love it as well, and the gamers, they're very much enjoying it. And speaking of which, how's the community feedback been on the game after release and with all the upcoming downloadable content? They seem to be enjoying it from what I've seen. Is that what you've seen as well?
Yeah, absolutely. The community's reception was amazing. People loved practically everything about the game. How the cars are handled, like the variety of cars, of vehicles itself. The trucks design, like the track editor, which boosted their creativity, obviously, and while doing the game, we obviously try to find the best way to reproduce things and features in a way that we could imagine the people would actually love. And when a game comes out, obviously all the game developers are there to read the reviews and kind of have a glimpse of the reception of the game from the community perspective, right? And when we saw people on the Facebook page or in the Discord channel or in the community channels that were set up saying, "Oh, the game is great, we're having so much fun, thanks, give us more," okay, that was actually it's kind of winning a marathon, let's say like this, because making a game, it's more not racing 100 meters, but like it's a marathon that you have to perform well from the beginning to the end. And when you actually cross the finish line and you see people cheering for what you've done, that's amazing.
It must be positive and a challenge, because if people want more, it's like, oh, is there an expectation what we're going to do next? But at the same time, it's a nice problem to have, though, isn't it? Because it's like, okay, everyone's enjoying it and they're just passionate about seeing more. Mentioning then about the community there is a really cool initiative that happened recently, and for those listening, we'll put a link in the description, but there's the Hot Wheels Unleashed design battle. So for those who have maybe not heard of this, could you explain what that is and how that came about?
Yeah, so the design battle is something really great from not even the community perspective, but even from our developer perspective, because it gives us the chance to people to create a livery for the Roger Dodger in this case, and they will be able to create a livery for this car, to post it and share it, and this livery will be seen by other players. And at the end of the contest, the livery who will be considered the best one will be recreated in real life on the Roger Dodger. So this is great from, sort of like there is always this conversation going about how the world influences games and how games influences world. And this is so cool because, in my opinion, having a game influencing real world like this, it's a small thing, but it's a cool thing because it's about the game, it's about this world, the Hot Wheels world. And so it's amazing because if you think about it, there will be this model coming up that was created inside our game that will be available to every customer around the world. The world.
So it's going to be like a normal Hot Wheels model available in shops, in retailers, but the design on it is being created through the Hot Wheels Unleashed livery editor, which also shows how robust the livery editor tools have been, right, as well, to reach Mattel's expectations.
Exactly. That's amazing. Actually, that would be kids or youngsters or anybody who are into Hot Wheels or this kind of toys and games to have in their hands something that was created digitally and then was converted into a physical thing, a physical model.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get to see the results of that soon. Is there any idea on timescales on that, or is it just a work in progress at the minute?
No, it's a work in progress at the moment. I think that our PR department will will dispatch all the info. Sure.
Well, we look forward to it, and certainly I will be buying one of those Hot Wheels models when they're available. And so, Mattel, obviously, they own the Hot Wheels business, the license, the models. How's your relationship been with them? Obviously, you worked with them very, very closely on the development of the game, but what's the relationship now after the game has been a success and the design battle is going? It must be pretty healthy, I assume.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Working with Mattel has been a great experience for everybody because, like, interacting with such a huge name in the toys and games world is always an honor, and it's a pleasure. The cool thing is, like, obviously there is a lot of communication going on, and having this communication flowing, and see the communication starting from a point and getting better and better and better as the game was developed was encouraging for us, because there is a lot of stuff that goes on while doing a game. A lot of questions must be asked and must be answered, and obviously these tightens up the relation with the license, and it's really great, because even after the game, even before the game has reached 1 million copies, like, obviously the relationship was amazing, and obviously we're looking forward for the future, because this relationship is so solid that it's important for us to have this relationship going on, to keep the game healthy.
Yeah, and clearly it must be working very well, and I'm glad that those ties are there. And obviously there's this huge DLC season pass as well, which must be the relationship must be a big help for. But we'll touch upon that in a second, because speaking of cool collaborations, one thing that happened recently in the game, which I really enjoyed, was the Gucci Cadillac. Now, for those who don't know, obviously there's you could actually buy a very expensive limited run, like, detailed model of the Gucci Cadillac by Hot Wheels, but then a version of that was also in the Hot Wheels Unleashed game. And what I really liked was it just sort of appeared. Oh, it was in my garage, correct? So how did that collaboration come about, and what was the thinking about just sort of providing it free for everybody to play?
Yeah, so obviously collaboration with Gucci was something else. Like, it was something else, because you're working with Mattel, and at one time you get in contact with Gucci, and you see the opportunity to have their Cadillac inside the game. I mean, most of us were like laughing with joy, because we were like, oh my god, like, we have this occasion, we can't let it go. So obviously it was an honor for us to have this opportunity, and we wanted to share this opportunity with everybody. So obviously, as a developer, gifting players with new content is always great, because since even the reception of the game was so good, and people, as I said before, were asking for more, we saw another opportunity here, so to gift everybody with this Cadillac, with the Gucci Cadillac. So I mean, we did it because we thought that was the right decision to do it.
Yeah, so the Gucci thing was really interesting, because it was like a nice free gift to everybody, and it came at the right time, and it was a really fun addition, which I certainly enjoyed playing. But there are also many other additions that have come to Hot Wheels Unleashed after it launched, and there are many coming soon as well. So there was as opposed to like a traditional season pass, there was like there's going to be 3 volumes. Volume 1's already happened. We're in the midst of Volume 2 right now, which started on the 17th of February. So how has the response been, first of all, to these new vehicles, and how has it been working on these new vehicles ahead of time, knowing what cool items are coming up?
Well, obviously, the reception for these vehicles was good. I mean, we had the community happy about them, for sure, and it was great, because obviously, as you can imagine, this kind of stuff doesn't happen by chance. You have to to plan for it. You have to work for it. You have to choose them carefully. So there was a lot of like decision making going around ahead of time. Obviously, you have to plan for everything. So all this work has to be done ahead, because there is a lot of like work behind it. You have to to create the models. You have to make it work. You have to tune them in terms of like physics. You have to plan for their upgrades and this kind of stuff. And you have to be sure that like they work on the tracks that are already in the game. Obviously, that's another big part. We have so many tracks that we want to be sure that like all the new release car works in every situations. So obviously there's a lot going on in the future, even in the immediate future. We've just announced a new environment the stop motion studio.
Interesting.
But obviously there's a lot of stuff going on. I cannot spoil you anything else, but
that's a shame.
I know it's a shame for me because I'm really excited for what we're doing right now.
Interesting.
So I'm really excited because as I see the stuff beforehand, and I see that getting created as a lead designer. That's one of the things that keep me most invested and happy, because I love how the people create while doing games, and I see things getting created. Okay, so I kind of see the development from when a car is just an idea on paper, and see it becoming something that one day I will just open the game and Federico, have you tried, for example, the Gucci car? And I was like, oh, there's the Gucci car in the game already. Yeah, you can try it. And I was like, let's go. So seeing this kind of stuff, even in terms of like new trucks, new environments that are going on, is amazing. And so I think that you will be excited as I am, as you will see in the final release.
Yeah, so that's a very interesting teaser. Very much looking forward to seeing what's coming in the future. As we said there, we're in the middle of the second volume, but the third one starts in June and then still goes on for another couple of months after that. So it's really long post-release support, which I'm sure helps fans coming back to play more and helps more hype for the game to live on, as well as new stuff is announced. Speaking of which, I think it's there's a McLaren Senna at the time of recording. It's coming soon. That's been announced, which we've not seen yet, which I'm very much looking forward to. And then there's going to be the big, you mentioned there, the stop motion animation new studio setting for the Monster Trucks pack, which is in April, I believe. Am I correct in saying that the Hot Wheels Monster Trucks is like a real world tour of Monster Trucks that they sponsor, and then they also make models of that? And so I'm assuming that these are what's going to be represented in the game, correct?
Yeah, they're like Monster Trucks is like a special kind of models. They're actually bigger than than the classical vehicle Hot Wheels vehicles, and they're super cool to see. And obviously they have these huge tires, which makes a lot of difference. And you will see them inside the game. Obviously, I can say more about it, but we obviously work in a direction in which these monster truck will feel differently from other cars.
Interesting.
The cool thing about Hot Wheels Unleashed is that actually you can feel the handling of the different cars in a special way. Okay, so every car has their handling. Okay, so obviously for Monster Truck has been a challenge to make it happen even for them, but we managed to do it. So expect the same for Monster Trucks, and obviously since their size and their appearance, I think you will be happy with how they work and how they will handle.
That's good. Looking forward to it. Definitely will be trying that as soon as possible. I think it's an important thing, a takeaway from what you just said about all the DLC development is that it's not just a case of designing the car, getting the license of the car and working it in. It's also how it feels and how it works on each track, which is a key thing that can be often overlooked. And speaking of development, the game is on an unbelievable amount of platforms. So what was it like creating not just a release game, but then all this DLC to make sure it all works across PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch? That must have been quite a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. As a developer, one of the biggest challenges that we have to face is actually creating a game that works and performs on every console. Even because there is a lot of in this moment, there are a lot of differences among the platforms. You have next gen, you have current gen. Well, right now we can say even more current gen and next gen because we're sort of in a crossing line about it. Yeah. And there is Switch, which is different, has different purposes and everything. But it's really challenging. But in Milestone, this idea of having these a lot of platforms to work with is something that has always been taken really seriously. Hot Wheels is not the first game that Milestone has developed on so many platforms. So we as you know, just think about MotoGP, Supercross, MX, like all other ride, like all our games have been developed on so many platforms. So it's a challenge for sure. Every project has their own special challenges to make it work, but obviously in our work there is a lot of experience going on that is shared among teams about how to make things work on different platforms, and a lot of features are developed throughout the years. And since Milestone has this long tradition of making games, obviously making this happen was a challenge, but it was a challenge that we managed to tackle efficiently, and I think we kind of kicked off the park.
Yeah, it's I think must have been very important for such a franchise like Hot Wheels to be available everywhere, because it's such a broad scope, and I think everybody will enjoy this game and enjoys Hot Wheels, right? So even if I'm a serious gamer on PC, I still might have a love for Hot Wheels when I was growing up, and I might want to play that. At the same time, if I'm a child and I've got a Switch, it's very important that the game is there as well. And so you were saying there how Milestone, within the different teams and different franchises, has a lot of experience of multiple platform development. Is there a process where you can learn from other teams that are working on other games? And then is there any learnings from the Hot Wheels development that have been passed on to other games? I mean, for example, I know Hot Wheels Unleashed had split screen multiplayer, and I know they're very different games, but I know that Supercross 5 and MotoGP coming up soon this year, they now have split screen multiplayer. So is there a conversation there with the teams within Milestone?
Yeah, it's not secret, obviously. I mean, we have R&D development, research and development team that keep on working like across the board on like every technology that we can insert in our games, and then that technology is shared, and like it's kind of given, because it's not really sharing, it's like a kind of given to every project, and then every project have to make the right stuff, like the programming team of every team has to make their own connection and stuff to make it work and make it specific, because like obviously for example just the UI design of every game is different, so the UI, the UX is totally different, and we have to make adjustments to the original technology. So obviously, as you can imagine, we're a big company. We're more than 250 people. There's a lot of conversation going on at every level to kind of share stuff, share technology, share insights and takeaways for every project. So and a lot of time we just sit and discuss about these to have updates for everyone to keep every project on the same level and to grow, because like grow only passes through conversation. I mean, at least that's my point of view. So
yeah, that makes sense. I wasn't aware actually there was a central R&D hub that then helps everybody, and then I feel like you can definitely tell some of the Hot Wheels Unleashed learnings going into some other games in the future, and vice versa, and that seems to be a really good working relationship, and the quality of all the Milestone games in the past year or two, in my opinion, has really taken a step forward. Having especially played Supercross 5 in a preview recently as well. I know we're talking about Hot Wheels, but it's good. So just on Hot Wheels, for me personally, I was really happy to see this game do well. Not only because I liked it, because I think also that there's not been too many arcade or more accessible racing games doing too well in the past 5 or 6 years, but this one has. So do you think that it will help show other people that, okay, we could do arcade racing games, if we do it well, it can be a success? And do you think it will help Milestone do more games in this area? Of course, there's going to be the MotoGP, which is more serious, and that's going to continue. But Hot Wheels was very, very different to that. So in the future, could this open conversations up to more accessible games as well?
Well, obviously, it wouldn't be the first case in which like the success of a game starts a sort of like the birth of many other games which are similar to the one who had success.
Right.
I mean, think about battle royales. If we want to go with there was one who started it all, and then there are a lot of like other games who went through. I would love thinking about that. Hot Wheels Unleashed will start a sort of like renaissance of like arcade racing games. That would be amazing, even because I love racing games in general. So I mean, I'm part of the niche of players who would like to have more racing games to have fun with. Then there are some cases here and there. I just hope that like Hot Wheels Unleashed will start and will encourage other people to do the same. And I'm sure that like all this success is something that like Milestone has seen and will obviously take into consideration in the future, because obviously Hot Wheels Unleashed it's a sort of like trying to move in a kind of new direction for us. We took the courage to do it. I mean, it took a lot of like courage and bravery to do it, because I mean, we had a long experience in terms of like simulation games. Think about MotoGP, think about Ride, which are more, they're keen on the simulative side, but moving towards this arcade was something that took a lot of like consideration to do before, because obviously we had to think about can we do it? I mean, are we going to be successful? And in my opinion, I mean, the answer was actually yes. Right now we can say we managed to do it. The game was successful, so we did a good job about it. And I'm pretty sure that obviously this boosts the confidence and gives us more fuel to propel forward in this field.
Right. Yeah. Well, here's hoping. I'm fully with you there. I'd like to see more games of this type from Milestone, but also, yeah, like you say, a resurgence of accessible arcade races as well will help everybody. Competition helps everybody forward as well, and the consumer only can win. So I think thank you for your time. I think we'll wrap up with a final question that you may or may not be answered. It might be tricky, but are there any future quality of life changes coming for Hot Wheels Unleashed, or is the majority of the team working on a new title, or are they focused on the DLC right now?
Well, as I mentioned before, I mean, there is a lot of going on with Hot Wheels Unleashed, and at the moment, as a lead game designer, I can tell you that we are working to provide quality content for Hot Wheels Unleashed, obviously. So that's what I can say. I'm pretty sure that you will be really impressed by what we're creating for the game and the community.
I see. Well, we're certainly looking forward to it, and I hope our listeners and viewers are too. Thank you very much, Federico, the lead game designer of Hot Wheels Unleashed. I hope you've had a good time.
Thank you, Thomas, for having me. It was really, really fun talking with you.
That's okay. Our pleasure. If you'd like to know more about Hot Wheels Unleashed, then don't forget the TraxionGG website is updated every day. If there's any news or announcements for the game, we will certainly post the information there. We'll put a link in the show notes as well. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please do follow or subscribe on there. It really helps out our podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment below with your opinion of Hot Wheels Unleashed or any questions about the future DLC, and we'll try best to answer them. That's it for now, though. Thank you for listening. Keep it pinned.